like whoever was born in 1968 to 1980. You know, back in the day when I used to play outside when I was a kid, I had friends who would always be at their grandmama and their auntie house. Now, my mother is not part of the Gen X generation. My mom was born in the 50s, right? So when I would go outside, I used to ask my friends like, dang, you been at your grandma's house for a real long time. Dang, you been at your auntie house for about a real long time. Where's your mom? Like, you know, did you talk to her? Is she okay? Because you've been here for about 14 days. I mean, you would have literally thought that I worked for child services at a young age because I had questions that needed answers because my mama didn't. She didn't believe in leaving me at her mama's house for umpteen days and her sister's house for umpteen days during school days and never returning until like the 14th day. Like, my mama did not play none of that. And it's sad to me how millennials, you know, when it's time for them to live their life, you know, if they want to go out for a weekend, hey, mama, can you watch my baby for me? A lot of y'all in the Gen X generation, you won't even look out for them. And the sad part to me, Gen X will be like, oh, I don't got time for all of that. I didn't raise y'all. I want to live my life. Baby, it's 365 days in a year. Your children or your child been at your grandma's house back in the day, 364. So I'm trying to figure out who in the hell did you really raise? Some of y'all kids was at your sister's house, your mama house, your great-great-grandma house. I mean, Gen X, a lot of y'all had a whole damn village when it came to y'all children. And you can't come through for yours? Now it's y'all turns to be the grandmama. It's now y'all turns to be the aunties. And it's so sad everybody looked out for y'all. But now it's your turn and you can't do nothing? Y'all was at the clubs 24/7. And let's not even talk about Freaknik, baby. You went every year. Now your sister needs some help. Now your brother needs some help with, hey sis, can you watch my son for me? Can you watch my daughter for me for like an hour? Ooh, an hour? An hour? Little Miss Unfit, an hour too much for you? Not the same who left your child at your mama's house. Your mama had just told you she barely got food in the house, and you literally picking up your child, which was the millennial child. You picking up your babies Sunday evening. You can't sit up here and look out for your niece, your sister when it come down to your niece and nephew, but your children stayed at your sister's and your brother's house. Now it's your turn and you can't do nothing? And some of y'all was still trifling, baby. Y'all would drop y'all kids off, walk off with your purse, and didn't even ask. And the sad part is nowadays, the millennials really can't even ask you because they know what you was about. They know what you about. Millennials don't even pull out half I pulled off back in the late 80s and early 90s and 2000s, baby. Come on now. Because they know what type of person you are. And what gets me is about Gen X, a lot of y'all, not all of y'all, but a lot of y'all will literally sit up there and be like, you know, the reason why my child or the children, the way they are today, the reason why they're so independent is because of me. Are they the reason why they are today because you taught them that, or because they didn't have a choice? Because there is a difference between teaching your child to be independent and because they didn't have a choice. So which one is it? Because the millennials I went to school with, the ones that I played with, they raised themselves while you went and go off. They raised themselves when you were still at their Nick house who still don't want you to this day. They raised themselves when y'all stayed at the club. They raised themselves when y'all spent the whole week at Freaknik. They raised themselves. And it's so sad. Y'all sorry can't come through for nobody.
All right? Y'all have a tendency of throwing stones and then hiding your hands when you decide to run up on your elders without any reverence or respect. So now it's time to sort y'all out. I said what I said. We are the alpha, the omega, and the blueprint to all this. And you all aspire to be just like us by catching rays off our light. But you never can because we do not look to Google to be great. Our greatness comes from life experiences and wisdom. The biggest mistake Gen X ever made was making millennials and Gen Z feel so entitled that they could emotionally dump their traumas onto our lap without looking in the mirror and holding themselves accountable for the choices and the decisions that they made in their lives. Before you decide to procreate and pollute your gene pool with low vibrational energy, use discernment when choosing a co-parent who can give you the help and the support that is needed to raise a child. And before you say, me, where's the village? What happened to community? The village left when you decided that you did not want anybody disciplining your child. All right? Your kids ain't got no manners, so you can keep them home. I gave up my 20s, my 30s, and the beginning of my 40s to be the best possible parent I could be, so the second half of my life belongs to me unapologetically. I'll be If someone tells me I have to watch my grandchild when no one has to tell me to look at my grandchild because I love my grandchild. All right. So our tip for the day is to figure this out the way we had to figure this out. Stop with the crybaby antics and get your unhealed, unchecked trauma under control and grow up.
Dang. Old girl sound like she mad at her mama and her aunties, okay? Just calling them out like that? At the end of the day, girl, just say you want to be able to go to the club whenever you want and be able to drop your babies off. Just say you want to take a trip to Jamaica so that you can get your freak on and not have to worry about paying a babysitter, okay? Now, the first lady that responded, I am on her team, okay? Because when she said that she had to think about what her life would be like if she had a baby, she had to weigh her pros and cons. Listen here, okay? I didn't have my kid until I was 36. You know why? Because in my 20s, I looked around and realized I ain't got no motherfucking village, okay? If I'm gonna have a baby right now, who am I going to depend on? I didn't have nobody that I knew damn well was going to be able to take care of my child to my satisfaction. So I decided, listen, let me wait until I'm financially stable to where I can afford to pay for a babysitter if I want to take a trip, if I want to go out of town, if I need night school, something like that. Okay, which is exactly what I did. But I did not sit around blaming my mama and my aunties for not being able to watch my kid. Okay, because listen, at the end of the day, I knew what I was getting into. Okay, now when it comes to picking a man to have a baby with, that's a whole nother story. Okay, but when it comes to being financially stable so that I can afford childcare for my kid, that was not an issue. And some of y'all need to be thinking twice about when you have these babies, because if you got a mama that still like to party, or if you got a mama that work full time and raise other people's kids along with you, she ain't going to be wanting to watch your kid. How about thinking about being the best person you can be so that you're not burdening the one person that raised you? Now, our parents were not perfect. Our parents did fuck up. Nobody had perfect parents, okay? You aren't even a perfect parent. But I think that one way of honoring your mother and your father is by being the best that you can be. And part of that is not burdening them with your damn kids.